Sit. Back. Sit. Back. One. Sit. Here. Here. Back. One. Easy. Heel. Sit. Easy. Back. Get down. One. Get down. Sit. Come on, let's go. Heel. Sit. Easy. Heel. Sit down. Sit. Back. Sit. Let's go. Hold. Sit. Heel. Sit. Easy. Easy. Go, get down. Hold. Drop. Heel. Sit. Heel. Back. Sit.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Boy, if you tap on this little thing right here, it goes into a mute mode. And you got to look at that. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Mike Hurd with you. Got a special little treat here for those of you checking out the live stream here for tonight. Of course, I have been talking a lot about the training app that I have developed. The good news is I have my 20 testers already lined up. So I don't need any more testers. So I've got those guys lined up. They need to test the app for 2 to 3 weeks before it'll go live in the Play Store. And once we get close to that point, I'll definitely will be letting you know when to expect that. But I thought I'd give you guys a live demo of what this app is. And I've been corresponding with my app testers for the last couple of days and trying to get some of the bugs worked out and some suggestions and some of the things that you're going to see here. My app testers don't have on their side yet. I'm going to get a bunch of bugs and work out those bugs, and then I'm going to put up something for them coming up here that they'll be able to get those updates. I'm trying to get this camera close, get the microphone. All right, so this is going to be a little tricky. I got my little buddy here, and we're actually going to take a look at the app. So one of the big features of this app is the map feature. And I have zoomed in on the map here, and I just did a goofy thing here. I actually lifted this up, and do you see that? It said find location. So there is a find location button in there, but it's hidden underneath the map. So there's a bug right there that I need to fix. I want to make that on top of the map, not underneath. So I'm going to draw out a training session that we did up on the training grounds in Butte up in Elk Park back on Saturday. So here's a suggestion for those of you thinking about getting this. These little pins here with the little rubber dealio, it works a lot better than using my big old clumsy finger. So here's the training map. So I've zoomed in to where we were running in this field, okay? And we were running from right back in here. So when I tapped on that, a sub menu is going to pop up. L for line, M for just your mark, and MR for retired mark, B for blind, and F for flyer. Now I'm going to add to this. I'm going to put a diversion bird in here and honor left side, honor right side. So on the L, there'll be a little more to do with that. But so I just tapped right there. I clicked the L, and it says add marker. Boom, there's the L. So that was the line we were running from. And you'll see here on the right side that we have wind, a undo button, a delete button, and a zoom in, zoom out. So if you want to add the wind, say the wind was blowing out of the southwest, so you have to tell it which way the wind was blowing, and it'll add in the blue arrow there. We ran a long retired. So now you're going to see MR1, MR2, MR3, MR4. Now, why do we have that? So this was mark number 1. So I want mark retired number 1. I'm going to click add. So from the line to mark retired 1 was 161 yards. Hopefully you can see the orange. I just noticed this little camera. You can see all the stuff on it. I wonder if I hit I did hit record. Well, anyway, sorry about that. Got a little bit of clutter going on with that little camera. So 161 yards. So that was the first mark we threw. Then we threw another mark back in here that was also retired. So that would have been mark number 2. And then we did a little bit of a walk-up deal here. So that would have been mark number 3. So that was 39 yards. That was 102 yards. And that one was 164 yards. Again, the wind blowing out of the southwest. When we were training here last weekend, after we ran the marks, then we came out and ran a couple blinds. And one of the blinds was deep of this long gun. It was back up here on top of this hill. So I'm going to tap B for blind, blind 1, add marker. So that tells you it was about 181 yards running across this meadow up on top of this hill, and they had to run by that gun. And then we ran another blind in there, which would have been blind number 2, and that was 103 yards. So that right there, so if you make a mistake, there's always that undo button right there. So if you're looking for an app that will just give you yardages of your marks and your blinds, this is one of the things that will work for that purpose. Now, the cool thing here is that I can actually take a snapshot of this, and then I can post it on my social channels. So if you go to a hunt test or a field trial and you want to map out where the marks are, now I'm not going to copy map marks for their app. I'm not going to show you in here the arc of the angle of the throw and all that stuff. This is just to tell you where the marks land, okay, and then where the blinds are. So it just kind of gives you a general idea of your training scenarios and your test scenarios, and then you can take a snapshot of that and you can post it on your social channels. So that's the training, the map part of it, the training map that I have labeled here. Again, we have wind, we have an undo button. Now, if I want to delete that and do it all over again, I'm just going to hit the delete button. Boom, it's all gone. Okay, so now I'm going to go back. This is the home page of the Amateur Retriever Training Academy app. Now, this is not available on the app stores right now. We're in testing mode, and we're doing a lot of debugging of the app at the current time. And right up here on the top, you're going to see log session. This is where you're going to go in and add training sessions for your dog. And right now it says I have to sign in. So I haven't signed into the app, so it's not going to let me in there. But that's fine. So right up on top up here, and again, this app is mainly geared for hunt test folks out there. So you're going to have a junior section. And in here, it's going to have what is a junior. You can click on that, and it'll tell you exactly what a junior is. And then how to train for a junior and recommended drills, and a video about the junior hunter and how to, again, the 10 keys to passing a junior hunt test. So it's a great video complement there. And then you got the same for senior. What is a senior? How to train for senior, recommended drills. And then you got the same for master. What is a master? You know, I click on that, it'll tell you what a master is, kind of give you an idea on distances, recommended drills, etc. So that right there will give you a helpful blueprint, what to train for, how to train, some recommended drills. When you're trying to run a junior, if you're brand new to the hunt test game, this is the place to do that. You want to move up to senior, that'll tell you what to expect in the senior. If you want to move up to master, that'll tell you what you can do in the master. I'm going to come back to Ask Rex here in a minute. But you can go to the dog profile manager, and I'm pretty sure this is going to tell me you have to sign in. So you can add your dogs in here, take pictures of them, and then you can log your training sessions. And it's a great tool. So once you've logged in a week's worth of training sessions, then you'll be able to save as a PDF. If you want to do it in 7 days, 14 days, once a month, every 6 months, it'll give you the option to download a PDF of all the training logs that you've done. So when you go into the dog profile manager, you add your dogs in there, then you come back up here to the top, you'll be able to actually, there'll be a button here that says switch. So if you have 2 dogs, you can switch between them. And you can go into log a session, and then you can go in and tell it, I did singles. I'm going to rate those singles with 1 to 5 stars. And then it gives you an option to type in a little box how the dog did. If you had any issues or any special notes that you want to leave, and then you log that training session. And then that way you can come back to it later. But let's see what else. So I got AKC rules and regulations. So you tap on that, and that will take you right into the rule book. So this will be right at your fingertips. You know, looks like it give you a download option there too. So if you want to look something up, that's the place to do it. So I'm going to go back home. So I wanted to build this first and foremost for one important reason. and that's for the solo trainer that's out there training by themselves or in a small group. And I want to give you a blueprint for junior, senior, master, how to train, what things you need to train for, etc. But I also wanted to give you an option to find help. So if you run into a training issue out in the field, and then you think, well, I'm going to have to go home and research that, how to fix that. Say, no, pull the app out, go to Ask Rex, and there's a few basic things already in here, but you'll be able to use your phone's microphone right down here, and you can talk to it. And when you talk to it, you can ask it a question. And then it's going to spit out some relatively good information. Some of the feedback I've had is it's a little on the long side for giving you the feedback that you need and how to train or things to look for and how to fix problems that are out in the field. But that's your tool right there to get help while you're out training and you run into some kind of a situation. Or your friend will ask you, well, how do you train or fix this issue? You say, well, pull out the app and let's find out. And then I've added training core principles. And you follow anyone's professional program, and they break it down into 3 categories: basic, intermediate, and advanced. You go into basic training. It's going to start with puppy training. It's going to have videos on food rewards and the things I've done with my puppies, puppy obedience, and then it just goes into formal obedience, e-collar conditioning, force fetch, double T, wagon wheel. There's a video on that. Pattern blinds, more wagon wheel stuff. Cold blinds, swim by is a big part of basics. There's a video. If you don't know what swim by is, it'll tell you that right there. Water de-cheating, key principles in basics. And then it's going to walk you through the same thing when you get into intermediate and advanced training. On the account setting side, restore purchases, sign out, delete account, suggestions, or report a bug. So there'll be something in there. And of course, a link to a privacy page that I have available on a website. If you want to learn more about all the features that are on the app, and again, I do have a website up at the moment. Just search for, let me get it up here, the AmateurRetrieverAcademy.com. And that'll take you to the website, and you'll be able to find out all kinds of information of the app and the app features. So that's what is called an MVP. It's a minimal viable product. And we're testing it out, trying to get the bugs worked out of it. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll get everything in order. And I'll get this out on Android and on iPhone. So it'll be in both app stores that you can download. So the deal is right now it'll be free for 7 days. So you can download it and cruise around in here and add what you need to and check it out. It'll be free for 7 days. And then it's going to cost you a cup of coffee once a month. And that's not a bad price for a training app with this many features. So this is at its basics, its basic core, okay? I'm going to be adding a lot more features in here in the coming months. Some of this is going to be for judges and how judges, let me get myself back on camera here. And that, okay. All right, so again, there's going to be a lot more into this app in the next couple of weeks and next couple of months. So that kind of gives you just a quick rundown of what this training app is, what it's about, some of the features that are in there. I've had a lot of great feedback. People are excited about it. And again, I've had some suggestions. One of the things I was asked to try and do is on the map feature is if you place a marker and you didn't get it quite right, and it's not built in there yet, but I'm going to try and do this. So you can just tap on that marker like an M for M1 and move it. Just drag it to some other little location. So I'm going to try and make that happen as well. So there's lots of little comments like that that I'm getting from my app testers. And if you have any questions, I'm looking at the chat window here. Pipe on in and I'll do some Q&A here. Do you have a question or you want to run a training question by the Ask Rex AI? I'll be more than happy to put that in there. Let's see what it comes up with. So I've been up to my neck every day working on this for 8 to 10 hours a day. Again, getting the bugs worked out. Every time I get a bug fix and get it going, then something else goes wrong, and you're constantly fighting the user interface on it. And anyway, it's a battle. It's a battle of patience, and you have to have a lot of patience when you're building stuff like this, and you're working with AI tools and trying to get things built and look right and placed in the right location, and try and set up a database that goes with all of this information. So it stores your dog's pictures and their training logs, etc. Then you have to tie that into the app, and then you got to get it to work on 3 platforms. One is web-based, although I didn't build it for the web, but it gives you that option, and it's a great place to do some testing. And 2, you got to get it to work in Android. Then you got to get it to work a little bit differently in the Apple or the iOS platform. So right now, Google requires 20 testers. And they got to test the app for up to 14 to 20 days. And then Google determines its viability, and then if they think it's something that they would like to have on their Play Store, then it'll go live on the Play Store. And once that happens, I'll definitely get that out to you. Now, iPhone does something a little easier. They don't require 20 testers. They will test it themselves for a couple of days. And if they feel that it's something that they can put out on their Play Store or their App Store, then they will. And then you just download it from there. So right now I'm in the Android side. I haven't gone to the Apple side because I need to get those 20 testers in there for the next couple of weeks and get this tested and get the bugs worked out. And then it'll make a little more smoother transition into the iPhone stage. But hopefully by the end of April, you guys will have access to the Amateur Retriever Academy, the Amateur Retriever Academy. So go to theamateurretrieveracademy.com. There's something called a landing page there, and that landing page will show you some of the options that are in there, some still pictures of the maps and login, a log session for your dogs. There's some graphics in there. They'll tell you, kind of what you would log in there. And there's a lot of little buttons in there on the log session. So if you wanted single marks, if you wanted water, if you were running drills, if you're doing multiple marks, blinds, there's a lot of little things to click on to add into the dog's log session. And then you come down and then you rate the dog's performance. How did it do from 1 to 5 stars? And then from there, you just put something in the little text box, but you can use your little microphone and just say, my dog River today did great on 2 long marks and really had a difficult time on a short retired, and then leave a little note in there and say, I may need to work more on short retired. And we came back and ran a blind, and the blind was good. And then you can save that. And then the next day you'll put in another one, the next day another one. And, you have 10, 20 days worth. If you want to go back and look at things that you worked on, or maybe some things that you forgot to add in there, it's a great way to give you some level of guidance and to help guide you through some training issues that you may have, or you need to work on certain things, because a lot of us just go out there and train blindly. We just go out there and train, and then the dog had a good day or the dog had a bad day. Tomorrow we're going to train on something else, and the next day something else. But really, is you want to train blindly? I mean, you should have a plan when you train. You need to have step-by-step process going, and that's where that core training principles for basic, intermediate, and advanced, it's going to walk you through all that step by step by step. You start with the puppy stuff, then you start with obedience, then you start getting in some e-collar conditioning, and then you start with force fetch, and then you finish the e-collar conditioning, and then you're on your way through the basic programs, which can take 6 months or so to really to finish that well, depending on if you have access to water. And then you're doing water de-cheating and water cheating singles, and then you're on your way. So it's a great way without having a DVD or a book right here in the palm of your hand. You got an app that you can use and use it every day, use it every once in a while. It's yours to look at for 7 days and check it out. And then you get $6.99 for a month on a monthly subscription. Not a bad deal. Trying to make it affordable for those of us that have jobs and a life and bills and all that stuff, and we're trying to run a couple of dogs. So I'm not trying to break the bank here by no means, but I am paying monthly fees for the company that makes the app. I'm paying monthly fees for the database that a lot of this stuff is going to be hosted on. And I've got a monthly fee for the OpenAI, for the Ask Rex part of it, that I got to pay them a monthly fee. Oh, goodness, who else? And then on top of that, each app store takes 30%. So 30% of the $6.99, and then I got to pay taxes on that. So there's another 30%. So I'm not making a whole lot of money on an app like this. It's not a money-making endeavor, that's for sure, after everything is said and done. So I got 7 of you on here, and KR Labradors, Labradoodles. Guys have any questions? Pipe in on the chat. I'd be more than happy to walk through some of these things if you have any questions. And one of the other things I was thinking about doing on here is adding some tools for judges. If you're going to judge a hunt test, for example. I'm trying to brainstorm some of that, but right now I got to get it through the minimal viable product stage and then get it into both app stores. Then I can come back and start adding things into it to make it more appealing to everybody. But this can be an app for junior dogs, senior dogs, and master level dogs. And I'll probably end up adding some master national and master amateur content in here and let people give you some advice on how to train for that and run for that and some of those things. So, well, not too many of y'all are asking questions, but that's fine. Hey, don't be shy. There's not that many of us on here. So it's not a big deal. Again, if I can walk through some of those features with you, I'd be more than happy to. If you want to learn more about it, go to the website. It's got a landing page, and there's a lot of pictures and graphical information there. And I hope you enjoy it. If there's something on the app that you would like to see on there that's not currently there, I'm all ears. And whatever I can do to help you train better and be more successful at the hunt test game without breaking the bank. That's my goal as an amateur. See, we got 7:30, so I've been rambling on for about a half an hour. Again, there's 8 of you on here. Does anybody have any questions? Put it in the chat window, and I'll try and answer this. If you want to ask Rex a question, I'd be more than happy to put that in there, and I'll let you see what that comes up with. But I pretty much went through the whole presentation. So again, I've been extremely busy doing this every day, trying to work out the bugs and getting things to work right. And you got to create files, different files for Apple, and then a different file name format for Google, and you put them on their respective Play stores. And yeah, it can be quite labor intensive, but I'm doing it to help you guys. So again, I got 8 of you on here, and only one of you said hello, but so let's see what's coming up. So I have started a course, a free course here on the YouTube channel, dedicated towards junior hunters how to succeed at the junior hunt test game. And the first module dropped last Sunday. It's a free course. So in that module, runs about an hour, but I break it down into, I think, 4 or 5 videos. Video lessons are about 5 to 10 minutes each. And if you have anybody that is thinking about getting involved into the Junior Hunt Test program, if they want a free course on what the junior is, how to prepare for a junior, things you'll see at a junior, some of the things that may fail you at a junior, how to train for a junior, rules and regulations. It's a very in-depth course. So the first module is on the channel right now, and that dropped again last Sunday. The second module drops on this Easter Sunday. And then the third module, the weekend after that, and then that third module is the one that really gets in the meat and potatoes on training for marking on land and water. Then the fourth module is going to talk about steadiness, line manners, all the back end stuff before you even get to the line and what you do on the line, and some of the things that can get you disqualified at a junior, even though it's just a simple marking. So it's a great little module or a great little course, and each module has several different videos in it. And I hope to give those junior folks out there across the country a little helping hand with some free information, and to give them a better blueprint to prepare for their first junior. Because when I started back in 1990, it was all trial and error. And that is a horrible way to go into any dog-related event these days, because we got the internet now and all kinds of features that can help you. I mean, at that time, I had Dale Walter's book and a VHS tape. That's what got me started, and that wasn't much. And again, my backstory is that I started a chocolate lab in the Junior Hunt Test program back in the early 90s. Could not get that dog to do a blind or do doubles, so he never ended up being a dog that I could run in the senior program. And my second dog, I actually did get to run through the junior and then did get a senior title, but that dog died early because of allergies, and those allergies really ruined her retrieving whole mental faculties. She just broke down, but it's a horrible story. But my third dog was Dusty, and that dog, I took that dog very, very far. I got some help from a professional, local professional, Bill Totten. He taught me a lot about dog training. He not only helped, let me back that up. He didn't train my dog. He helped me train my dog. And that's where I learned a lot of the things that I pass along to you guys, or some of the teachings I learned from him. And I was actually able to sit down and videotape a basic and an advanced training sessions that he put on back-to-back years or something like that. So I actually had to videotape it, take all that videotape and edit it, add graphics to it, make it look and sound good. And he sold those DVDs, but again, that was in the early 90s. That's when DVDs were first coming out. It's unfortunate that I can't get that somewhere online, because that would really be kind of a cool thing, because the material that's in those is invaluable and never goes out of style, and that's for sure. But anyway, Dusty, I ended up getting, it's funny, that dog, I tried to run him in a junior. I could not run him in a junior. Why? That dog would pull the truck to the line. If I tied his collar with a leash under the front bumper of the truck, he literally had that much go and strength. He just wanted to get up to the line, and he was way too out of control when he was young. So that's when I found help, and I found out that that dog rather go 500 yards than he would go 50. And he ended up getting an amateur field champion title. And then when he slowed down a little bit, I came down and got him a master hunter. And then when he slowed down a little bit more, he absolutely loved the HRC hunt test side of it. So I got an HRCH, I got an MH, AFC on him. Went to a couple of nationals with him on the field trial side. didn't really have the desire to run a Master National at that point. But I'll tell you, my other dogs that I got, I have ran at the Master National level, and I have plates for two of the dogs. One that has passed away, the other was retired, and had a lot of fun with that. And I thoroughly enjoy both those national venues, especially the Master Amateur. I've had a lot of fun and success doing that off and on over the last 7 years or so. And of course, they're going to have their 10th anniversary Master Amateur Invitational down there in Wisconsin this year. And it's coming up at the end of June, and we'll be live streaming that somewhere online. Won't be on YouTube or Facebook, but I'm going to go to a different third-party application and try and embed that into the Master Amateur Invitation or Master Amateur Retriever Club website. So look for that coming up here in the next couple of months. I'll try and iron out the details. If I can get this app up and running, then I can start focusing in on some other tasks. So again, there's 9 or 10 of you sitting here. If you guys have any questions, now's the time to pop that in on the chat window. And oh, there's one. Peter K. Can't wait for the amateur. Oh, good. You're going to the amateur, Master Amateur? Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. If you've never gone, you got to go to the week before. They have training grounds, and they'll make that available. And in fact, the training guide, I think they're just putting the finishing touches on it. And that training guide will come out soon. I don't know when. In there, it'll show you the properties that you can go train on and try and get into a training group. And that's a lot of fun. I actually had more fun doing that the week prior than actually running at the event sometimes. Yeah, but the amateur is a cool event. And it's growing, so it's good. It's in its 10th year, so that tells you it's a viable sport, and it should be fun. Hunt Proof app. Hunt Proof app. Looks familiar. I don't know what the Hunt Proof app is. So is that your handle, Hunt Proof app? Hunt Proof app. I live about an hour 15 away. Well, that's cool. Wow, that's actually very fortunate. So that Master Amateur grounds are probably familiar to you, and that'll give you a little bit of advantage running that. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Put it in the chat window there, and yeah, I'll try and answer anything you want. But again, if you have anybody that is looking to get into the junior, stop by the channel. I mean, there's a lot of great content to sit there and ingest or digest, I guess. It'll be a great program. All right, guys, it's been rambling on for about 35 minutes. Anybody have any questions, comments? I'm still checking out the Steve Old Fall training, getting your dog to avoid old falls or fight through them. What do you do? Well, again, that's the number one thing that'll get you failed at a hunt test is returning to an old fall, right? And one of the things I absolutely cannot stand, I don't see it often, but I see it sometimes at hunt tests where a retired gun throws a mark, and then they put the blind literally 5 feet from where that bird landed. That's insane. That is just crazy to do that, because there's going to be a tremendous amount of scent where those marks have landed. And then are you going to fail the dog for going back to an old fall if you put a blind 5 or 10 yards from where that landed? I never do that when I judge. Never. If I put a blind out, it's either going to be under the arc, in front of the gun, or behind the gun, or alongside. But if I put a blind out to run past the old fall, you have to teach it first before you test it. And one of the ways I would do that is I would teach the blind first. And let me back up. One of the ways you can do that in training is the 4-phase drill. And there are videos on the channel about 4-phase drill. And basically all that is you're teaching the dog the 4 phases of running marks in conjunction with blinds. Behind the gun, in front of the gun, under the arc, and through the old fall. And you put it into a drill-like format, and you run it and you teach it. You break it down initially for a week or 2, running through each phase until they get it right, and then you move on to the next phase, and then you move on to the next phase, and then you come back and repeat that in a shorter, condensed version every 6 months. You should be able to get dogs to go through an old fall on the way to a blind retrieve. So check out that video, Steve, or Steville. Old fall training, getting your dog to avoid old falls or fight through. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would be working on the 4-phase drill, because in the 4-phase drill, it's mostly about no pressure. If the dog returns to an old fall, when you teach the 4-phase drill, you're teaching them to get the mark first and then go get a blind. And then you're moving the gun station closer and closer and closer to where the blind is. So if it's an under the arc blind, you're initially starting off the gun station around 25 yards. And then that guy's going to walk to the 50-yard line and throw a mark. And then he's going to walk to the 75-yard line and throw a mark. So they throw it, dog goes and gets the mark, then you run the blind. But the blind is well marked. It's got a big marker out there. We use 5-gallon white buckets on a post. So the dog understands this is the command I give to go to a mark, and this is the command I go to a blind. And try that, and that'll should help teach that concept, because after they learn that, then you can start doing poison birds with that. Then you teach the 4-phase as a poison bird scenario. And then that's where you don't add any pressure. You just, if they go get the mark before you get the blind, then you got to go out there and get the bird. And, you're just trying to use attrition and just do it over and over and over again. Okay, I think I answered that. Anybody else want to weigh in? All right, got another one. Let me ask it another way. Let's say you have 3 marks and your dog wants to return to an old fall. Do you just handle to the mark? Do you add pressure? Well, I'm assuming we're talking about training. If you're in a training scenario, you'll hear pros do one of 2 things. And I was taught to do it this way when I was training with professional retriever trainer Bill Totten. We would spend 4 or 5 days building up a quad. Day 1, we are doing a single. Maybe it's the longest mark that we're planning to do in the quad. We'll do as a single, and we'll repeat dogs if they have a hard time with it, because we want them to learn that mark. And that mark's going to have a water crossing, terrain features, etc. So you teach that mark. Then day 2, we're going to throw that mark again, and then we're going to add another single in. So they do 2 singles on day 2. Day 3, we're going to do the same 2 singles, and then we're going to add in a 3rd single. And then day 4, some dogs may get it as a full quad. Maybe we're going to add a flyer in on the 4th day. Or some dogs may do a double-double. Or some dogs may do a single and a triple. Or some dogs may do all singles again. Just depends on how they do it. But I was always taught to build up concepts. Teach it to them. And that way, you're going to lessen the impacts of coming into an old fall or returning back to a gun station that they shouldn't be going to. Because again, if you go to a hunt test and they return to an old fall, you're automatically disqualified. You're out. So you can never go back to an old fall. Now, you have 2 trains of thought if a dog is wanting to return to a flyer. One, I'd be doing less flyers. I wouldn't be adding as many flyers into my training program. I would back off on flyers severely, or I would do simulated flyers, or I may shoot the flyer first and then run another single and try and get a correction on if they want to come back to where the flyer was. It's just dog dependent. Some dogs, you'll have an easier time using e-collar pressure. Some dogs may freak out over that. Some dogs are soft. You're just going to have to get the other gun to help so they don't return to an old fall. There's dirt claw drills that you can run. There's a lot of things you can train for in training. But if I had a dog that was chronically going back to an old fall, then you really got to simplify everything. I would be spreading those marks out. I would be doing 180 degrees with one mark up the middle and turn it into a pie concept. So if they want to go back to an old fall, they severely should get punished for going back to an old fall because it's black and white when you separate those marks out and you do them as singles. And if they want to return to something where they've been, it's 45 degrees or more off to wherever mark that they're returning to. You need to read that. And you should set up concepts that, because Clark Kennington will talk about this every now and then, he'll mark out in the field or put a little ribbon or have some kind of natural terrain. He wants the dog to be on the right side of this bush and etc. And if they deviate from that and they start to fade one way or the other, say with the wind, he's going to start handling, and then he's going to come back and repeat that again as a single. That's something else you can try. But I'd have to see, it's hard for me to give you a straight up answer because I don't know your dog's temperament and how they handle pressure. But sometimes if I've taught the dog not to go back to an old fall and I've been very adamant about it and I broke it down, and then I start making it a little bit harder, sometimes you just have to throw the lightning in there. If they return to an old fall, sometimes, and I don't recommend it, it just depends, again, if the dog can handle it. And some dogs, the lightning may be a 3, and some dogs, the lightning may be a high 7 on an e-collar. But that would be my last resort. But they have to know, and you have to make a point of telling them that you're not happy if they return to an old fall, especially after you drilled it into their head. But I think the 4-phase drill is something that works good, and the other one is the 3-leg pattern blind. If you've ever seen that drill, I've got that drill on my channel as well. And that's basically using a short middle pile of bumpers as a blind, which is marked, and then 45 right and 45 left off of that short pile or 2 others. And what you're doing is you're teaching the dog to go to each pile. You line up and you send for the short pile. They get a bumper, come back, you line up for the short pile again. And by the time they almost get about 80% of the way, you're stopping them, and then you're casting away from that short middle pile. That's casting out of suction. So basically they learn that, okay, it's all right if I tell you to go back there, but you better listen to me when I tell you not to pick that up. And that's another great drill, I think, that can help you with returning to an old fall. Hope that answered your question. If you have more details about it, I'd be, let's see, maybe that old fall is a flyer or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Flyers. If your dog is flyer wise, I do one of two things. I either quit throwing flyers or I would have 3 flyers out in the field as singles. So every mark he got was a flyer. So, it takes the excitement out of one away. Now he's now he's got to look at 3. Yeah, that answers it. Was looking for some ideas. Thanks. Yeah, check out that 4-phase drill. If you've never run that, that is some fantastic dog training. That gets you and that dog working together as a team. And so does the 3-leg pattern blind. That is wonderful as well. And that's something I just learned within the last 5 years. And I credit Clark Kennington for coming out and doing a seminar. And he showed that to us. And we were like, we never thought about doing that. One of the other things I do is run a wagon wheel drill that I learned from Bill Totten. But his wagon wheel drills, he's got 5 piles marked in white discs. Probably they're all around 125, 150 yards away. And then in between each of those is orange discs at about half the distance. So they have to learn to run past the short piles to go get the long ones. And then they have to learn to check down. So it's just all about communicating. You're telling them, this is what I want you to do, and listen to me. And it's just working through the process to get you to work as a team and get that dog compliant with what you're trying to do. All right, anybody else have any questions? I'll hang here for a minute. Well, I talked about that more than I did the app. That's just okay. That's not a problem. All right. Well, guys, I got 6 of you on here still. Anybody else have anything else? I'm all in if you want to stick around for a little longer. Got our first significant spring snowstorm here, which was kind of exciting. We've had the warmest 121 days on record. So December, January, February, March. That 4-month window in southwest Montana, it is the number 1 warmest 4-month period for December, January, February, March in many locations around southwest Montana. I've never seen a winter this bizarre in my entire life, and pretty much snow-free. So it's kind of nice to see some snow sticking to the ground. It won't be here very long, but there's a lot of places in the West that are going to be hurting, I think, coming up this summer for water and for potential wildfires. Let's see. Let me check real quick. Okay, guys. I don't know if anybody's still watching or not. Got 2 thumbs up. Okay. I think we're going to call it a night. That's been rambling on for about an hour. And again, my main goal here tonight was to talk about the app and what it has. So next Thursday, we'll try and get back to some topic. And hopefully I'll be done doing some debugging and getting things organized. But that's what I want to talk about this week. All right, you guys, 7:50 my time. Have a good night. I'll see you next Thursday. And don't forget to check out the next video release coming up Sunday here on Black Blizzard Retrievers and Mike.